Welcome back to the Hollow Friends. It's mid-September here, and that means archery deer season. I know not everybody that watches this channel hunts, but it's such an important part of my life and such an important part of my family's life that I absolutely had to make some content on it. I'm going to take you through the gear that I bring with me when I go hunt, what I wear, and I'm going to take you through it season by season. And if you're just getting into hunting, it might give you some good ideas of what to bring with you. Let's dig into it. All right, so let's see if I can get through this without boring the pants off of you. Let's start with my gear. What am I going to bring when I go hunting? Always. Now I know people are going to make fun of me. I wear a fanny pack. Why? Because I can't stand wearing a backpack. And if you're up in a stand, you can rotate this to the front of you instead of having it rubbing up against the tree. I prefer a fanny pack. We'll go through here. The first thing I'm going to bring is, of course, my hunting licenses. I keep them in a plastic baggie to keep them dry. They come on paper. To get wet, then you're going to ruin them, and then you're going to get pulled over by the Department of National Resources, and they're going to give you a ticket, or worse. So I bring those, and I'll usually have my firearms license, and I'll have my health card and a piece of ID in there, just so I don't have to bring a wallet with me. I always bring lights. I'll bring a headlamp with me, a good waterproof headlamp, because if you do harvest a deer and you need to clean it and it's dark outside, you're going to want to be able to see what you're doing without getting your bloody hands all over your light. So always bring a headlight with you. I like to bring a little bit more bright light with me. You really shouldn't be shining these into the field. So this is if you're in the woods, or if you're around the truck only, don't be shining it into the fields. You don't need to be harassing the deer. But I keep this. It can clip on your pocket, and you can walk with it. It's a good Pelican light. It's waterproof and actually this one's fire rated, but that's not important. But I always bring a little bit of paracord with me. This one's got some lint on it. It's been in there a long time. I always bring some paracord with me in case you have to build a shelter, or if you need some extra cordage, or you get to your stand and your haul line is broken or is getting a bit dry rotted and no good. You can always put a little bit of extra paracord on there, and then you can haul your rifle or your bow up to you. Never leave home without some TP. I always keep this in a baggie as well, but you always want to have some arse wipes with you, because the last thing you want to do is get hung up out in the woods, had a few too many beer the night before, and you're out in the morning and you get caught without TP. That's going to make for one miserable walk to wherever you're going or back to the truck. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be a happy hunter. Always bring some TP with you. And at the very least, you can use it for some fire starter. You ever get lost in the woods, then you at least have some fire starter with you. I do recommend actually bringing some dryer lint in a baggie, or some tinder, anything you can use to start a fire, because if you're just going to bring a fire flint, it's not going to be enough, and that's the minimum that they require. So that's what you'll read in your handbook. Bring more TP, dryer lint, so you can start a fire. Speaking of starting a fire, I bring a half decent flint. You always want to bring one of these with you when you go in the woods anyway, but always bring a half decent flint. Some people like to bring lighters, but lighters will get wet and you can end up in a bind. This is never going to let me down as long as there's material on it. So this is what I bring. You can spark it with the included sparker. I usually take this off so it doesn't jingle around in my bag, and then I'll spark it with the back of my knife. But always got to bring some way to start fire. If you ever get lost and you don't have some way to start a fire, you're going to be one unhappy hunter again. I'll always bring my deer grunt. Um, I know that calls work for a lot of people. I've always found them not to be that effective around where I hunt, but the grunt call always seems to have a little bit of a reaction. If there's a buck around and you're in the rut, you're in, you know, getting into middle November, then having a grunt call is going to help, because you can give a little grunt, you know, and if anything's around, it'll probably poke around and see what you're doing. See if you're a deer, see what you are. Always bring that. And then you always got to bring a good orienteering compass. Mine actually leaked this year, and I have a new one coming, but I have in my bag my spare, and this one will do. It gives you your heading, and you can do some basic orienteering with this. But you want to have something like a good Silva compass, orienteering compass. I'll put a picture up here of one so you can see, and I'll post a link to one on Amazon for you. And you always want to have a compass, because when you go into the woods, even though you may be familiar with that area of woods, you would be very surprised how easy it is to get turned around, even if you're familiar with it, even if you're very experienced in the woods. You can get turned around. You don't want to be without a compass. You want to know which directions are going to take you where, and you always want to take a back bearing when you go into the woods, even if you know where you're going. So you always want to have a good leather belt. Leather is quiet, leather is strong. If you absolutely had to, I'd say you could tie, you know, some rope to a tree, and this could help you keep it in it if you didn't have your harness, if you're hunting in a tree stand. A good leather belt, and you want to have one that has a matte finish buckle. Don't get one with a shiny buckle. You don't want to be giving yourself away in a tree if you have your shirt tucked in, and then you got this thing flashing the sunlight at all these deer. You're going to be looking pretty stupid up there if they're catching you just because of your belt buckle. And then finally, you got to have your knife with you. You always have to have a knife. I carry the same one that my father carries and my grandfather carries. It's a Groman Knives Survival number 4, and it's the stainless steel model. They make one in carbon steel, but I do use this for hammering through breastbones and stuff on deer, and through their pelvis, and you'll break a knife pretty quick. The stainless steel is a little more resilient to that than the carbon steel, so this is what I carry. And actually, leave a comment below if you want to see me do an in-depth review on this knife, this Groman knife. It's a very popular knife, and it's a very good woods knife and bushcraft knife. So if you want to see me do a full review of it, leave me a little comment below, like the video, and I'll take that into consideration. Shove that to the side. All right, so let's get into what I wear. Clothing is very important when you're hunting deer. You don't want to wear things that are going to give you away. In archery season, you don't have to worry about hunter orange. You're allowed to hunt in just camo. So it's very important. You don't want to give yourself away by wearing something bright and brash that's going to completely give away your silhouette. A deer can recognize your silhouette. So we'll just go through what I wear, and we'll go, you know, from archery season, you know, the warm weather, and then I'll move on to the colder weather stuff that I have. First thing, a good hat. I wear a hat that has a bib on it for masking my face. Here, I'll put it on for you. For masking my face when I'm in the woods. If you're sitting, and it just helps break up your profile a little bit when you're sitting in a bush or you're sitting in the tree. You can do that, and then the deer don't see you as well. You just really want to break up your silhouette more than anything. You're not going to fool a deer. They still know there's a giant lump sitting up in that tree, but if they can't tell that it's a human, then they're more curious than they are scared. So a good hat, a good camo hat, and again, make sure it doesn't have like shiny stuff on it, because you're going to get given away if you do that. Archery season is very warm. you're looking at, I don't know, you're looking at 20, 24 degrees some days sitting out there in the sun. So you got to have yourself, you know, a camo long sleeve shirt, but you want to make sure that it's nice and light. Mine has breathable sections in the armpits. It's a nice light material, and it's also a quiet material when you rub it. So when you're walking through the woods, you're not zipping and making a pile of racket. But that, you want to wear a nice light shirt, and even if you're hunting in colder weather, you want to have a nice light shirt underneath, and one that wicks moisture, because if you start sweating and you get a little bit damp from the sweat, you're going to freeze. You always got to have a nice sweater or hoodie or jacket. This is like a sweater and a jacket kind of combined. Again, camo. This one's a little darker camo. I sit in a lot of fir trees. Fir trees are a little darker. So I always like to wear a little darker camo if I can. And I found this one was a really great color. And again, this is just for early season hunting. You know, you'll have your light thing on your light shirt underneath, and you'll wear this over top, and it just keep you, if you got a little bit of a chill on in the mornings or getting late at night, you can throw this over stealthily, throw this over, and it just keeps you just warm enough so you can get through your hunt. And for those colder days, because we have been getting some colder days even now, and it's what, September 13th, so a nice fleece. I like to keep a nice fleece. The fleece will, it keeps you warm. It's real quiet. You can walk through just about anything silently with this, even if you're bushwhacking, and this will keep you nice and warm, especially if you have the sweater on underneath. I mean, you could almost pass that for winter gear. But a nice fleece jacket, and again, camo breaks up your silhouette when you're in the bushes or when you're sitting in a tree. Very important. And then I always wear a good set of camo pants, and mine are getting a bit wore out, so you can see the camo is getting a little bit gray, and that gray, deer can pick that out in the trees. If you're sitting there, they'll pick you out because it's getting a bit gray. I like to have nice dark camo. When I bought these were very dark, but a nice pair of camo pants. I like to wear camo ones with cargo pockets, because I do like to put things in there from time to time. You put hand warmers or extra set of gloves, or you can put all sorts of stuff in your pockets, but don't load them up too much, because you'll be walking through the woods. I'm sorry, folks. The camera cut out on me. Dirty old camera. Yeah, okay, so anyway, pants, cargo shorts, a nice dark camo pattern. Just a good set, and make sure they're quiet, so when you're walking through the woods, you're not zip, zip, zip. You're not giving yourself away. Let's move into the cold weather gear. Let's start actually with the orange. In archery season, you don't have to wear orange. You can just wear camo. So it's not as important, but I do keep orange. I've got a good orange baseball cap. I have an orange toque as well. And I've got what I like to wear is these orange vests. So the orange vest, what I think it gives me in terms of an advantage is it doesn't give away my silhouette as much as a full orange coat would. Now, I do have a full orange coat, and this is my cold weather coat. It's a big, thick, puffy, fleece-lined jacket. It's all orange on the inside, but is reversible with a camo outside. And so I wear this big jacket. I wear this big jacket with the orange inside, the camo outside, and then I put this vest on. And I just don't think that it gives away my silhouette as much as having the arms and everything. A big white silhouette of me up in a tree, the hunter orange, blaze orange. But, so this is my cold weather jacket. Again, it's big and it's fleece. This is old as the hills. I've had it for, well, yeah, 15 years. 10, 15 years now I've been hunting in it. And it still lasts. I mean, this was cheap. This was like a $50 jacket at Canadian Tire back then. And look, it's still going. Again, it's grayed out a little bit. I should probably get a new one, or maybe, I don't know, hit this with some black dye. I don't know. But a big, thick winter jacket. Orange, you got to have orange if you're going to be hunting in rifle season. So half decent orange. Polar pants. I have got big, thick polar pants. Now, these are the noisiest piece of gear that I have. These are nylon lined on the inside, and they are nylon on the outside, and they do have some rustling. If you can hear this, they have some rustling on the outside, but when I hunt, I mostly hunt in the stand, and if I can get in quiet and I can sit still, these don't make that much noise. I can get away with it. And in fact, I've gotten a couple deer wearing these already, so I know that I can sit still in them. So you got to have some polar pants if you're going to be sitting in stands and you don't have like a good Thinsulate or other insulation brand lined pants. You're going to be very cold and you're going to be very miserable, and you probably won't want to stay hunting because you're just going to be too cold. But that's what I use for my legs. And for bird hunting, this is a hell of a jacket. You can't wear this deer hunting because it's just too loud. But this is a Browning bird jacket, and it's got big cargo pockets on the front. The cargo pockets used to have like a bandolier kind of thing. It would come out and you would put your shotgun shells into the bandolier section of it, but I just found that flew all over the place, and it came out every time you put your hand in your pocket, and I just didn't like it. So I got rid of that, and I went for just having them as cargo pockets. The fun thing about this jacket, though, is that you can put everything in this jacket. You don't need a backpack. You don't need a fanny pack. It has got the cargo pockets. It's got these breast pockets. It has these giant full frontal section. The whole pocket goes from here across down to the bottom of the jacket and back up again. And that's aligned. You can put things in that. So if you wanted to put a pheasant or something in there, you could. And the exact same on the other side. And then if you look on the back, it has a giant kangaroo pocket on the back, which unzips so you can unload it. I don't know how well you can see that in the camera. It unzips, you can unload it, and then you've got all of this space. And it's all lined, so it's blood proof. So if you get a bunch of rabbits or you get a bunch of pheasants, you can put your catch in there, and then when you get to the truck, you can unload it and clean them. And you won't ever get any bleed through of the blood on your clothes. This thing's a great jacket, but it's just loud. But you can bushwhack and smash through everything. Big, thick fir forests, big, thick branches, rocks, anything, you name it. I have smashed through it all. I have bushwhacked. I have beat my guts out trying to flush up some rabbits in this. And I mean, it's still, this again is 10 years old probably. And I mean, it still looks, it's great. It's like Carhartt material. I don't know that I suggest everybody gets one of these, but I have enjoyed wearing this myself a lot. So I would, if you're going to be bushwhacking, then you definitely should get one of those. Oh, I forgot the gloves. Okay, so gloves are important, obviously, because you don't want your hands to freeze. I prefer the flip back style of glove. It flips over into a mitt, and then it comes over into a glove. And I prefer this because mitts are way more warm, but you want to be able to put your finger in the trigger guard, and you want to be able to squeeze your shot and know what you're doing. And you can't do that if you got big, thick gloves on. So I prefer these, and they have a little spot inside them. You can put one of those shake up hand warmers, so you can get a little bit of extra warmth of those days that are, minus. And I've had these for a long time. I can understand why some people would want to go with a bigger, thicker, individual fingered glove, but I just prefer these, and I'll probably keep wearing them for a long time, to be honest. So that's all my clothes, and I just want to touch briefly on how you care for those. If you wash your hunting clothes with regular laundry detergents, they have UV brighteners in them, which stick out like a sore thumb in a tree. And a lot of them have scents. What I recommend you do is don't wash your hunting gear in the same washer that you use scented laundry detergents. Wash them in the bathtub and use a detergent like this. I got this at Cabela's. Cabela's, if you're listening, by the way. So I use this stuff. It has no UV brighteners. It's a scent killer, which, let's get one thing straight. You're never going to fool a deer. Deer are smarter than that, okay? But you will be able to mitigate some of that. And this helps do that. It takes out some of the chemical smell out of your clothes, some of the oils and things like that. It'll help get rid of them. And I do recommend that you wash your clothes, your hunting clothes with that. And then I use a scent killer like this. So before I'll go for a hunt the day before, I'll spritz my stuff with this. And then if there's anything lingering on them, it helps take it away. Again, you're never going to fool a deer's nose. It's not possible. But you can reduce the chances a little bit and use this. So I do. Oh, by the Jesus. I almost forgot the most important thing. Boots. You have to have a good set of boots. If you don't, your feet are going to get cold and you're going to be so miserable, you'll never want to hunt again a day in your life. I usually hunt in this. It's a good set of leather Redhead Iron Ridge, I think. I'm going to call them the Iron Dukes. I got them at Cabela's. And they're Gore-Tex lined. They have an 800 Thinsulate insulation, and they're a good leather outside. And I'll put boot dubbing on these once a year, and I've had these now for 4 seasons, and I use them all around. You'll see me wearing them in a lot of my videos. I wear these all around, working in the yard, and then I hunt in them as well. 4 seasons. And I got them on sale. They were like $120 or something like that. So, I mean, really, you can't go wrong. But for beating and smashing through the woods, I've got these $99 boots, waterproof. They're nylon, so I wouldn't use them for deer hunting. But if you're rabbit hunting, you want to smash and beat through down piles of fir branches and stuff, you can't go wrong with a cheap pair of smash 'em up boots. So I'm getting really excited for deer season. I got to be honest. I'm really looking forward to getting out there, and I hope that you are too. So I think I'm going to go do some more prep, and I'll catch you on the next video.